Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Mary Jean Jakubowski, and I have the honor and privilege of being the director of the Buffalo and Erie County Public Library System. I am so very pleased to welcome friends and family from all over the world to tonight's virtual book launch party for Dear Kamala, Women Write to the New Vice President, compiled and edited by Dr. Peggy Brooks-Bertram. Now, the music you've been listening to was performed by Buffalo's own fabulous Colors Musicians Club, and I hope sincerely that you enjoyed it as much as I did. Tonight, please look forward to an enjoyable, enlightening, and exciting evening of conversation. If at all during the program you have a question or comment, please type it into the chat box, and we will do our best to share your comments and questions throughout the program. We are so very fortunate to have Dr. Brooks-Bertram here with us this evening. She is a beloved author, activist, historian, and longtime friend of the Buffalo Libraries. Her previous books include Uncrowned Queens, African-American Women Community Builders of Western New York, which was co-authored by Dr. Barbara Seals Nevergold, and Go Tell Michelle, African-American Women Write to the New First Lady, which is a compilation of thoughtful and encouraging letters to Michelle Obama, who in 2009 became the first woman of color to be the First Lady of the United States. Today, Dr. Brooks-Bertram presents a collection of letters to Kamala Harris, who is making history as both the first woman and the first person of color to hold the office of Vice President. This book presents 100 heartfelt letters and stories from women around the world, offering words of welcome, hope, and advice. As a library, we value and share stories through our collections, exhibits, as well as community partnerships. We collect books and preserve records of past generations, display letters and artifacts that capture a moment in time, and we encourage the idea of storytelling in its various forms and formats as a way to foster social cooperation and understanding of and for one another. Storytelling is truly powerful, allowing us to learn from one another and to plan for a better future. Storytelling is culture, which helps us to build empathy and understanding, love and honor. For tonight's program, we will begin with a musical performance by the talented Arlette Miller-Smith, followed by a poetry reading from a storyteller, bookstore owner, and retired librarian, our very own Sharon Holly. We will then hear selected readings by the authors of the letters included in Dear Kamala. And in conclusion, Dr. Peggy Brooks-Bertram will talk about the creation of this very important and noteworthy book. Now, I'm so very pleased to welcome our Mistress of Ceremonies, Jennifer Parker. Jennifer is a graduate of the State University of New York at Buffalo Law School and Johnson C. Smith University. She is the founder and chief executive officer of Jackson Parker Communications and the Black Capital Network, a small business consulting firm that provides services in support of minority business development. Energized by making all things happen and the love of community, Jennifer is a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority and the recipient of several professional and community awards. Jennifer, take it away.
Thank you, Mary Jean. I'm telling you, and welcome Zoom friends to Buffalo, the virtual Buffalo. But, you know, thank you, Joy. Thank you, Mary Jean, for setting the stage. You guys are hearing the beautiful music of Buffalo's Colored Musician Club, and that's a history within itself. And they have a museum here too. So when you have time, Google it because they're virtual. You can take a virtual tour right now. But anyway, welcome, welcome, welcome. I can't stop smiling because I'm so excited. I had the privilege of working for, what is it, almost 6 months with Dr. Bertram. It was a whirlwind. I heard, I saw on Facebook that she said, I'm going to write a book. Excuse me? She said, oh, I'm going to write a book. So I said, do you need any help? And she said, yes, you're welcome. So I was so glad. It's been such a joy, and I've learned so much from this lady. So I would like to open up, because let me tell you before we open up, because one of our letter writers from Buffalo is going to open up for us. But I want you to know that I heard Peggy Bertram say she put an invitation out for letters and the world showed up. But before the world showed up, Buffalo showed up. And we would like to say thank you. And our first letter writer is Miss Sharon Jordan Holly. She's a retired librarian, Black bookstore owner, and a world-renowned storyteller. And we have so many storytellers that have written in this book. So that's excellent. And she lives in Buffalo, New York. And right now, Sharon, I guess Buffalo, compared to the rest of the country, we have pretty good weather right now. Take it away, Sharon.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Dear Vice President Harris, I love the sound of your name. It's soothing, melodic, and reminds me of jump rope rhymes of my youth, when little black girls got together to play with clothesline rope on broken sidewalks. Although it was fun and play, it was the beginning of a sisterhood bond that strengthened over the years. Remember the sound? Kamala, Kamala, turn all around. Kamala, Kamala, touch the ground. Kamala, Kamala, go upstairs. Kamala, Kamala, say your prayers. Kamala, Kamala, what you say? Vice President of the USA. You remember those rhymes.
Oh, I remember jump roping and trying to learn how to do the double jump roping, and I could never do that. So
let me just say, the journey that you are embarking upon will usher applause and spew venom, often in the same space. However, be encouraged. Hold your head up high. Break the ceiling and touch the sky. We'll see you on Black Lives Matter Plaza in 2021. Blessings. Sharon Jordan Holly, Buffalo, New York.
Love it. Love it. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you. I love it. I love it. I love it. So feel free to clap, guys. But anyway, now I would like to introduce a lady that I've admired for years, looking at her from afar when she started Uncrowned Queens Institute with Dr. Barbara Nevergold. And I just looked up to those ladies. And to be able to work with Dr. Peggy for 6 months has been unbelievable. And I have the privilege of introducing this lady. And Peggy is a native of Baltimore, Maryland. She moved to Buffalo, New York in 1986, 2 years after me, Peggy, with her husband, Dennis A. Bertram, and 2 children, Dennison and Lillian Yvonne Margaret Bertram. Peggy completed her BA in political science from Goucher College in Baltimore, Maryland, and received a master's and doctorate degree from Johns Hopkins University from the School of Hygiene and Public Health. In June 2002, she completed a second doctorate in American Studies from the University at Buffalo. I always kid her that I was working with her because she had intellectual curiosity, and I don't like people who don't think. So she just a laugh when I said that. Dr. Bertram is a multi-talented individual with interests across a broad spectrum, including public education, public health, journalism, creative writing, and independent scholarship on various topics in African American history. She is the founder and CEO of Jehudi Educational Services, an independent consultant firm specializing in K through 12 curriculum development, staff development, and training. Dr. Peggy Brooks-Bertram is the president and co-founder of the Uncrowned Queens Institute for Research Education on Women Incorporated, also known as Uncrowned Community Builders. The uncrowncommunitybuilders.com is the largest website directory in the world of African American women and their achievements in their community. The website is structured so women worldwide can tell their stories, publish them online, and preserve them for history. The Uncrowned Queens Institute is named for the progressive era historian and racial uplift advocate, Drusilla Dungy Houston, and Dr. Bertram is writing about her now. Dr. Brooks-Bertram is an author of many journal articles, books, and other manuscripts. Publications include Drusilla Dungy Houston, Racial Matriarch, an Unmuzzled Mouthpiece in the American West. She's the editor of Dear Kamala, Women Right to the New Vice President, and has served as the author and editor for Letters to the Superintendent, a Community Response in Buffalo. And she is the co-editor of a book that was written in 2008 called Go Tell Michelle, African American Women Right to the First Lady. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome Dr. Peggy Brooks-Bertram.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Jennifer has been my constant companion for the last 6 months. And when I say constant, I mean constant. And it's been wonderful. So let me share these remarks with you. There is an enormous tradition of letter writing by Black women to other Black women and women of color. Black women have been writing letters to, about, and for themselves for centuries. Even if those letters took the form of songs, rhymes, and drum beats, they told one another of their loves, their losses, their lives, their children, their communities, and their God. Whether carved in stone, hand-painted by cave dwellers, or written on papyri from the Nile Delta, it is a centuries-old tradition. Maya Angelou is in that tradition. So is Drusilla Dungy Houston when she wrote to her girls in the Sapulpa training schools in Oklahoma. And my own mother's telling letters to me, stuck between the frame and the mirror of her grandmother's oak brick front. I wrote letters to my friend Dolores Dickey in East Baltimore, when I worked away from home during the summers of my adolescence. There are the letters of Buffalo women, Mary B. Talbot's letters, who, among others, wrote to members of the Culture Club of the Michigan Avenue Baptist Church. Mary Crosby Chappell and her letters and rough drawings of her old homestead, reminding her that she was born in Scratch Ankle, Georgia. Black women wrote letters to Black women seeking their support for various projects, some nationwide, like lynching. But it was their sweet letters, long and strong to themselves. Black women have always been women with many words, and even though buried in both our history and that of others, we spoke and we wrote. Harriet Jacobs tried to share her notes and ideas about her experiences with slavery with Harriet Beecher Stowe, who tried to take them from her. Lillian Williams, Buffalo historian, community activist, and biographer of Mary B. Talbot, has a cache of Talbot letters yet to be fully deciphered. Many were written to Black women asking them to take a public stand against lynching. Maya Angelou wrote a book of letters to the daughter she never had. Others wrote letters to daughters they wish they had never had. Mina Harris, Kamala Harris's niece, wrote letters to Kamala. And our Iowa schoolgirl also wrote a letter to Kamala when the candidate ran for president. Kamala said that that letter persuaded her to run for president. That little girl's prescient's words were, "The president is you, and the office is the presidency. We need more people like you to run for president." And now we all know for sure that the vice president is you, Kamala Harris, and the office is the vice presidency, one breath away from the presidency. And now, tonight, we come full circle to all of us. It's you and me, girls, as letter writers to an extraordinarily multi-ethnic Black, Asian, and island woman, the new vice president. Social media is buzzing, streaming, screaming, and humming from California to Mississippi, from Canada to Georgia, across the Atlantic to an African chef in Paris, France, to Stockholm, Sweden, where a Black expatriate woman represents the bastions of African-American women who worked abroad in the Harris campaign. Countries in Africa and the island of Madagascar, and right next door to where we are, Toronto, Canada. Still, far away in Nepal, a young Hindi teacher living in the shadow of Kathmandu. And last but not least, a writer from India whose entire family introduced themselves to me via Facebook. She lives in a village close to where Kamala's mother was born, and the entire village is celebrating tonight. This is your book with your varied backgrounds of white, Black, Indian, Caribbean, Canadian, European, African, Latina, Jamaican, Trinidadian, Filipino, and more. It is truly a historic moment. It will go down in the annals of all women writing to one another from around the world. Give yourselves a big applause. And now for this program, take it away, Jennifer.
All right. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I'm telling you, that's right. Move, ladies. And I love seeing these beautiful smiles. I know there's some gentlemen on here too, but I don't see everyone. But thank you so much, Dr. Bertram. Right now, the next person who's going to speak is the publisher for Indiana University Press. But I'm going to give the pleasure of Dr. Bertram to introduce this visionary. Thank you, Peggy.
Who am I supposed to be introducing now?
Dr. Gary Dunham.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Gary
your
Dunham.
friend.
Hey, Gary, how are you?
Hey, Peg.
Let me tell you something, a little bit about Gary. We've gone around the mulberry bush a little bit. But what I like about him is he believed in me. And once he said he believed in me, it was good to go. And putting it into a framework where we knew people would accept it, putting some time limits on it, making some suggestions, and making everything possible that the press could deliver to us possible. And when you have an editor like that, a person who's managing an entire university press, and they believe in you, all you have to do is put it together. Take it away, Gary.
Okay, thanks, Peg. Let's see, I have known you for 13 years, and it's been fun and exciting. You worked so hard on this book, and look at the results. We at the press, we loved working on this book. Think about this, 3 weeks ago, it was still in our hands, and now it is in your hands, because we all worked very hard over the holidays to make sure we could get it out as fast as possible. This book is wonderful. It's hopeful, it's uplifting, it's thoughtful, it's wise. It's full of all that goodness that we have missed for the last 4 years. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So here we are, a new start for all of us. There's still darkness around, but our way through and out of it is lit by books like this one, this very special book. So please, everyone, buy this book, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Gary.
Thank you, Dr. Dunham. Nice seeing you. I've met him via email, but now it's good to see your face. And thank you for believing in Peggy's vision. Thank you very much.
Of course.
I now Zoom friends we have a special guest that agreed. This is a busy lady, and she agreed to come on board to be a part of this program today. And that is Beverly E. Smith, the National President and CEO of Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. And what I want you to know, I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta, and I reside in Buffalo, and Buffalo has a Buffalo alumni chapter president. And that president is a dedicated community leader, Miss Vanita L. Jamison. And I love her so much because I used to run the Buffalo Book Fair. And then one Saturday, she just showed up and she said, "I'm here, Sarah, to help you." And I had never met her before. And it was like she showed up every year. And Vanita, I would never forget that. And that's what Deltas do. It's all about service. It's all about service. But one thing is, we were running so fast. I know that she's an executive with the Buffalo, Western New York FBI, but please correct me and tell me. I want you to tell me your exact title, tell the friends your exact title, and then she's going to introduce our SORA president, the esteemed Beverly E. Smith.
Hi,
Miss
good
Vanita
evening.
Jamison.
Hi, good evening, everyone, and thank you to my SORA, Jennifer Parker. Congratulations, Dr. Brooks-Bertram. It is a pleasure to be here. I work for the Department of Justice. Right now, I am coordinator for the applicant program and the foreign language program, going on 22 years, right here in Buffalo, New York. So greetings, everyone. I have been fortunate enough to learn from those who have inspired me to become a better version of myself. The person I'm introducing you tonight is just one of those people. I am humbled and honored to introduce Beverly E. Smith, current president and CEO of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, the nation's largest minority female-owned and operated public service nonprofit organization. Beverly E. Smith is tenacious. She is savvy and a woman truly about her business. An entrepreneur, she is vice president of the HR Group Incorporated, where she has worked for the past 30 years with her husband. She is on the board of directors for the National Council of Negro Women and the Delta Research and Education Foundation. Beverly E. Smith is influential, a recipient of numerous awards, most recently, the Lead 360 Business Organization's Executive of the Year, 2020-2021. She has been married for the last 45 years, has 2 adult children and 5 grandchildren. It is a privilege and an honor to welcome my soror and president, Beverly Evans Smith. Welcome to Buffalo.
Welcome to Buffalo.
Thank you, Sora Jemison. I appreciate the introduction tonight. Now, I will say, even though I am a very proud member and president of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, I really am here tonight to represent 13 women's organizations who form an organization called United for Women. And we really work together. And one good thing I'll say about Black women and the fact that we are one is that we understand and realize that and recognize it. We decided to form a collaboration to make sure that we got a woman of color in the office that she's in today. And we are so excited about that. We are very active in terms of social action. So tonight, I will say I'm wearing my purple for Women's Suffragette Movement and for our soror Shirley Chisholm, who was the first woman to run for United States office of president of these United States. But I want to read the letter. I want to spend my time, and let me first say I'm representing Alpha Kappa Alpha, Zeta Phi Beta, Sigma Gamma Rho, the Links Incorporated, National Council of Negro Women, National Coalition of 100 Women, Jack and Jill of America, the Girlfriends, Top Ladies of Distinction, Women's Roundtable, Black Women's Roundtable, National Cares Mentoring, and the Black Women's Agenda. 5 million of us came together. And I want to spend my time to share the letter that I wrote for our organizations for Kamala. To our dear sister Kamala, well, Black woman to Black woman, it's time we had the talk. The talk we must, not the talk we must have with our children about the perils of being persons of color, but the talk Black women must have with each other and ourselves, especially when the days get tough. It's the talk that reminds us who we are and how we are connected as Black women. The talk that lifts us up on days when we are weary from being overlooked, underestimated, and minimalized. After all, we know what you've been through facing being the first Black female candidate for president of these United States. Regardless of political party, and because we all share a common belief for the goals for which you stand, as they say in the vernacular, we got your back. We are raising our collective 5 million voices to uplift and encourage you. The strength and power you represent puts fear in some, but when you are demeaned and disrespected, all African-American women are demeaned and disrespected, and we will not let this continue without a response. To the rhetoric, angry Black woman, monster, and other derogatory epithets that they hurl at you, we got your back. As any mother or sister girlfriend would say to you and to those who would try to shut you down mentally, physically, and spiritually, ignore the chatter. We know, and historians and archivists have confirmed it, the African woman is the mother of our modern civilization. For centuries, Black women have nursed and raised their babies along with the babies of others, caring for them, encouraging them, feeding them with wonderful, soulful food, and using the strength to release and free others, and crying for too many lost children. It was a Black woman who was a human computer that ensured a man got to the moon. It was a Black woman who, by the strength of her will, would not be moved from her seat on a city bus and started a movement. It was a brave Black woman who took her folding chair to the table when she could not get a seat in any political party and became the first woman who ran for president of these United States. And it is Black women who have raised powerful children alone and become public advocates for themselves when the men of the movement are murdered. Never forget that you come from strong, resilient ancestry, and you will not be defeated by lies and character assassination. We, Sisters United for Reform, speak out to demand that these attacks stopped. Sister Kamala, let your skills and experience be evident and never devalued as an asset. Let the power of your voice be heard and never minimized or silenced. Let your presence be awesome and never flagrant. Let your integrity be steadfast and never compromised. Let your intelligence be respected and never denied. Let your light continue to shine and never be dimmed by demagoguery, divisiveness, or delusion. Remember, Sister Kamala, we've got your back.
Loved it, loved it, loved it.
Yes.
Had to hold back the tears. I felt so proud, especially when you said you started out about Shirley Chisholm. She spent her retired years here in the Buffalo area. And I know that Dr. Bertram got to meet her and know her. And it just makes you so proud. I remember her. I was in high school and I remember seeing her say, "I'm running for president of the United States." Her articulation was so wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Benita. Thank you so much for being here. And apologies for, we have to catch up. We have to catch up. Thank you. And now we have some wonderful letter writers and some wonderful leaders in this book to Dear Kamala. And I'm getting ready to introduce you to one that's not very far from the Buffalo. She's in Rochester, New York. And that is Dr. Arlette Miller Smith. Dr. Smith will provide you with remarks. Dr. Arlette Miller Smith wrote the foreword in the book. She is a respected leader in higher education, a retired associate professor of English at St. John Fisher College in Rochester, New York. She was employed at St. John Fisher for over 20 years. She helped launch the college African American Studies minor. And Dr. Miller Smith is also the founder of Rochester's African American Women's Gospel Choir. As a dedicated community leader, Dr. Miller-Smith has received numerous community and professional awards. Dr. Arlette Miller-Smith will provide remarks after you hear from, I think that Dr. Peggy Brooks-Bertram want to say something before Arlette speaks.
All I can say about Arlette is that I was floored by her poetry in a book called Go Tell Michelle. I have never read the poem that she wrote unless I cried. We, in anticipation of you. Oh my gosh. Arlette, I want you to know that I have loved you from the first with that poem. Telling us we in anticipation of you, we taking us from the slave ships all the way from Africa to the Virginia coastline and reminding us of what we did and how we survived and all the things that we had to put into place to be who we were. And you talked about women I had never heard of. I want you to know that I looked their names up, every single one of them. I did. And so you were the first person I thought of in terms of doing this book. I love the music of your writing. It made me cry, always. The rhythm of your
I think we lost Dr. Bertram. I know she's saying, what's going on here? I can't hear.
Am I okay?
Okay, you're back.
And I'm telling you, the music of your writing has always moved me to tears and made me a better researcher. Who is she talking about? I had to go and find out who Jorina Lee was. And all the things you did. When we talked about this, your reception was immediate. It wasn't, I'm going to think about it. It was, of course, I'm going to do this. Now, I got a little problems here and there, but we can get around those, and we did. So I want to close by saying that your foreword was unlike any foreword I have ever seen. And I thank you again, and I love you for participating with it. And you made this an absolutely wonderful book by its addition. Take it away.
Thank you, Double Doc. That's what I love to call her, because she is a double doc. Listen, sisters, listen, Zoomers. Once upon a time, in 1873 to be exact, a passel of sisters, a passel meaning there was a whole heap of them, okay? And in fact, I called them Toni Morrison's 30-woman company. Now, let me just remind you again, in 1873, a passel of sisters show up, speak up, rise up in solidarity to support their estranged but beloved neighbor, Setha, who is being terrorized by the past. Now, some of these women, like us, were a little reluctant to be a rescuer. They thought that Setha had been vain and arrogant and standoffish, but they eased on down the road, armed with their herbs and their roots and their Bibles and a whole heap of faith. And right there in the middle of the road, outside of Setha's shack, they prayed the road down. They covered their sister, and then they moseyed on back to their own business. Now let's fast forward. 147 years later, in 2020, this woke company of 100 willing women, workers, and baby beauties stand up, buckle up, and write up their determination that they are going to lift up not Setha, but a senator, then vice presidential candidate named Kamala Harris, who was weaned from the womb to lead. So when Sister Double Doc Peggy Brooks-Bertram sent out that call to all these beautiful sister women that you see here, they said, of course, she said to them, I want you to letter Kamala Harris's path to her seat at the head table right here in the People's House. And so all of these writer women that you see, they gathered their weapons, herbed tea and mother wit and prayer oil and righteous truth. And then in their letters and in their poems and in their stories and in their chants, each of them summons Kamala to claim her place at the presidential table. They are confident that she will win the seat, and we know how that went, okay? But they thought then, if by some chance there was not a designated Vice President Harris chair, then they would help her to remember this. Shirley Chisholm left you, girl, a folding chair, right from her 1972 Chisholm for President campaign. And so then the women thought, now how difficult could it be for Harris to not earn a seat at the table? All she had to do was say, I'm speaking, and then sit her body down. So the writer women got to thinking about this a little more. And they said, she must carry her own seat with her by now. I mean, look how many times that she has moved up. Lawyer, prosecutor, district attorney, attorney general, senator. And the sisters said, you know, they weren't ready for Charlotta Bass, and they certainly weren't ready for Shirley Chisholm. You know that they are not ready for this Asian, African-American, divine, non-HBCU, AKA, cis star VP, and she's married to a Jewish lawyer too. Girl, you know she's got her own chair. So Zoomers, thank you for coming tonight. We want you to sit and sip and savor as you listen to the record of revolution by 100 women and baby beauties from Brooklyn to Buffalo, Baltimore and beyond, who turned off their phones, packed up their lunches, kissed their lovers and parents goodbye, turned on their computers, and sat down in their truth, writing notes and stories of encouragement and support and advice, all from their Black, brown, yellow, red, white, baby boomer, Generation X, Y, Z, English, French, Nepalese, African-speaking, ebony, cocoa, oh my God, saffron, oh my God, alabaster sales. That was saffron. I got so excited, you know, I couldn't go on. Alabaster sales, and to the head and the heart of the bloomed lotus flower we call Kamala, they said, girl, you got it going on.
Wow.
Love it. Thank you,
Thank
Dr.
you so
Miller
much.
Smith. Thank you so much. And let me tell you, Zoom friends, Dr. Bertram told me that this lady has a voice too. And I heard a little bit of it when I saw some videos what she's done in some artists, but we'll get her on another time. But Dr. Miller Smith, thank you so much for sharing that. And before I go on, I wanted to tell Sarah Smith, Beverly Smith, please check your chat because there's a lot of people are sending you messages about that letter, okay? And another thing I want to do is that we're getting ready to get into hearing an excerpt from a few of the letter writers, okay? And one is a Girl Scout from California. But before we get started, I see some of the other Girl Scouts down there. please, if you're a Girl Scout, please wave your hand. Thank you, ladies. Thank you. Those are some of our future congressmen. Their letters really spelled it out. They said, we're concerned about this, and we're concerned about this, and can't you do this? Keep it up, ladies. Keep it up. I'm telling you. So our first letter, right, we're going to hear from Vonetta Rhodes, Janice LaVon Harris from Baltimore, Maryland. Vonetta Rhodes is from Buffalo. Eleanor, a Girl Scout from California. And unfortunately, Miss Kate Lawson, Dr. Kate Clifford Lawson, will not be with us this evening because of the snowstorm. She has no power, and she is a well-known author that written books on Harriet Tubman that was made into the movie, and now she has a new book coming out on Fannie Lou Hamer. So I don't know if she was able to get in to see us, but we will miss you. But one thing somebody just told me, we can order those books from Zawadi Books, a Black-owned company owned by one of our letter contributors. And yes, indeed, Miss Sharon Holly. And so our first letter reader, Vonetta, letter writer, and she will be reading an excerpt from her letter. Vonetta T. Rhodes is a spoken art performer. She lives in Buffalo, New York, and is a member of Ujima Theater Group. She is also an ardent community activist, great storyteller, great actress. Miss Vonetta, I don't see her. Where is she? Joy, do you see her? Well, I will come back. Miss Janice LaVon Harris. Janice LaVon Harris is from a Baltimore, Maryland residence. She is an Army veteran. As beautiful as she is, you wouldn't think she was a veteran, but she's a veteran, and is a dedicated mother and grandmother who provides digital teaching at home for her grandson. More power to you, and thank you for your service, Ms. Harris.
And before she begins, I have to say, Janice was my first babysitter for my first child. I loved Janice then because she was the daughter of my very good friend, Annie Harris. Janice is a very special person, and I'm so glad you joined us tonight.
Thank you. Okay, it's yours, Janice.
So she needs
unmute your mics. Please unmute all the mics, please.
Unmute your mic, Janice. She's not hearing us.
Oh, maybe Joy can do it.
Joy, where's Joy?
There we are. Okay,
thank you. All right, start back over. Thanks.
All right, great, thank you. Good day, and thank you for the opportunity to bring attention to an issue that is near and dear to my heart, that affects the most vulnerable among us, our children, and the issue of child safety, specifically as it relates to custody and custodial access. While all of my children are now grown, at age 58, I am parenting, nurturing, educating, protecting, relentlessly advocating for, and stabilizing an extraordinary grandchild for almost 6 years. There are thousands, tens of thousands of us grandparents, and the numbers are growing, who are parenting grandchildren who were abandoned. What laws can support grandchildren what laws can support grandparents and even great-grandparents in their efforts to care for these children? How can the federal government acknowledge and provide financial and respite relief for the growing population of caregivers? Also, how do we effectively protect children and keep them safe in lieu of custodial access when disclosures of abuse and maltreatment are received? Moreover, the government has a duty to pass laws and policies for the stewards of the state and the courts to help protect children and support caregivers, especially us grandparents, who, by the way, are giving up our lives to raise our grandchildren and keep them out of the foster care system. In closing, why is the United States of America guilty of not effectively protecting children? And where are the hundreds of children unlawfully taken from their parents at our borders who are now missing and unaccounted for? We, as a country, must do better by our future leaders, our children. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Janice. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And our next, and then I just found out Vanetta is here. And so, but we're going to go to our next letter writer, which is Eleanor, a Girl Scout from California. But I'm going to give the honor of her introduction to her Girl Scout leader, who sent us a Facebook message saying, I have 11 young ladies from California who would like to write a letter. Can we? And that was a day before everything was due to you, Gary, the publisher. And Dr. Bertram said, we have to let them say what they want to say. So Kristen did her magic and helped us. Thank you, Kristen, for reaching out. So Kristen is a California mother, a Girl Scouts leader, and the founder of Reiki Master, where she serves as a certified energy healing practitioner. Kristen, you turned the right. She got the letters to us. She got permission slips to us. She got photos to us in a record time. Thank you.
Thank you. It is so amazing to see your beautiful faces, not just emails. Yes, you know, I couldn't have made it happen if you ladies weren't equally as organized. And, you know, I put the call out to the rest of the Girl Scout parents and girls, and I said, you guys, if we get our letters in this weekend, we can be in the book. And everyone was in. We were just absolutely honored. And, you know, we were all, even before this book, we were already talking about having the girls pay tribute to Kamala somehow as the first, you know, woman vice president. That's what Girl Scouts is all about, is empowering women. So this just was the perfect opportunity. So we are completely honored. Our Girl Scout troop is in Palo Alto, California. And so, you know, we also have a soft spot for Kamala as our senator. So we have loved her for many years over here. And so we had 10 girls write letters, and all of the girls are in 5th grade. And thank you so much for inviting Eleanor to read hers. And without further ado, I will let Eleanor come on.
Thank you, Kristen. Dear Vice President Harris, I wonder, how do you feel about how the country is run right now? What do you do as Vice President? If you could change one thing for our country, please make sure that everyone gets an education, whether they are a girl, a boy, American, Japanese, Mexican, or Indian. I think that everyone has the right to be taught by teachers and learn. I also think that America needs to work on driving less and stopping the spread of pollution. Maybe we could have a holiday where people try to stop using gasoline. Global warming is getting very dangerous for polar bears and Arctic animals because the glaciers are melting. If global warming keeps up, polar bears will be extinct. Also, because of all the trash we throw in the ocean, sea creatures' homes are being destroyed and turtles are being killed because they think that plastic bags are jellyfish. Sincerely, Eleanor.
Eleanor, thank you so much. I'm telling you, those letters, get the book. Those letters, you will see that gives you hope for our future congressmen and presidents. These ladies are so in tune about what's happening to America and how to make America better. They didn't complain in their letters. They provided solutions. So maybe they may be a little bossy, but that is a good trait for female leaders, okay? So, but to me it is. But anyway, thank you so much, Eleanor. We really appreciate it, okay? Now we're going to go back to Vanetta Rhodes. I believe her mic may be on now. Vanetta
Yes.
Rose is a spoken art performer from Buffalo, and she's a member of Eugene.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, good.
All right. This poem is a love letter to Senator
I
Kamala
think
Harris.
she's here. Is she here?
We can hear
Can
you.
you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. This poem is a love letter to Senator now Vice President Kamala Harris, but also all of our people, especially Black women, whether it's from traditional period or what's said now, the popular culture period. This poem is about the knowledge and energy synergized in the power of period. And this is a time for action now. And we vote, period. And we voted, period. And now she's our first woman of color vice president. I called my mom and she said, vote, period. She said it feels like the 1960s again, deep structured racism in a planned type of organization of bad cops and Klan go hand in hand, repeated assault against the Black man and woman, period. Make your voice count, period. Be like the 1980s on this November 3rd and have more bounce to the ounce like DJs at skating arenas. Let's dance circles around the truth, closing tight in the middle, protecting the future of our youth, period. A communal reclamation, a one world nation, fly in stealth. And this time we got you surrounded in a big league way. Not on this election day. Let a real motion be carried in the Supreme Court of Human Rights, where the personal is political. Black votes matter, so don't believe the hype, period. Vote, period. Go to the polls, ballot boxes, and post offices. Wear your mask, gloves, and social distance yourselves away from rulers who want monarchy instead of love-based parties. Period. Vote, period. Vote early and vote now. If you don't know, you better ask somebody how. Period. Our ancestors died for this, brother. Period. So we can no longer lie for this, brother. Period. Vote, period. Vote, period. When it comes to the survival of humanity, there is no other choice. Only your voice, period. Your vote is your voice, period. Vote, period. Peace.
Peace. Peace for sure, peace. Fantastic. Jennifer, where are you? Jennifer, where are you? Well,
Let me see. Can you hear me, everyone? Good, good,
yeah,
good.
we can. Okay.
Okay, I would like to introduce. We're going to hear from Dr. Shauna L. Smith. And Shauna is the assistant professor of English at Jackson State University. She's a native of Kentucky, and she specializes in African American literature and has a particular interest in young adults and social action. And I believe Dr. Bertram wants to talk to you about Shauna's letter and it's being a bridge to the next generation. And before we hear from Shauna, read from her a portion of her letter. Dr. Peggy?
Yes. Well, I was especially.
I don't know if can she hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you.
Okay. I'm so glad that Dr. Shauna Smith is here. She was introduced to me by Arlette Miller Smith and Dr. Smith. And
yes.
And it was also because one of the things that we noted, well, I noted in the letters was that there was a gap between the women that we considered to be women who were in charge of legacy organizations, and the new millennials. And the Pew Foundation identifies them as the XYZG T to the 10th power generation. And my question was, who are these people? You know, I didn't know these names, these titles. I wasn't familiar with them. And they were raising issues that, not that I wasn't familiar with them, but it was that I hadn't really dealt with them. I certainly hadn't dealt with it in my writing. And these were young, beautiful young Black women, white women, Puerto Rican women, who called themselves members of the trans population.
This technology is very interesting.
And I was saying, well, okay, I know a lot of stuff, but I didn't know about the issues. I knew them on an individual level as they would crop up, as they were brought to me, but I didn't know them the way somebody like Dr. Shauna Smith knew it. And I thought that if we had a letter from her, she could kind of walk us over that bridge that we didn't have before. We knew there was a gap, but we didn't see it as a bridge. And so Shauna, can you tell me a little bit about that for this group? Because it was very critical, and it's an issue that isn't going to go away.
Sure. I'll start with reading just a little bit of my letter and then talk some more about that. So I started with, Dear Vice President Harris, there is a continuum among generations of Black women to pass forward a baton of leadership, of caregiving, of social justice action. Ours, Generation X, couched between one who dragged 20th century civil rights into televised existence and another recording 21st century revolutions to uphold and keep those rights, has a unique positioning. We who are the beneficiaries of social justice movements, who are often still firsts and seconds, as you are the first South Asian and the second Black woman to serve as senator in the United States history, are just social justice conduits. We keep the mantle, then teach, model, and pass on the significance and weight to this new generation. Generation Zeal. I call them Generation Zeal, as they fervently and righteously poured into the streets during this pandemic, wearing masks to protect both George Floyd and Breonna Taylor's murders by law enforcement. They indignantly and incorrectly insisted that they are not their ancestors and will demand the justice that never seems to come if you are not white, male, and privileged. Yet it is up to us to show them that they are us, the ones who came before them. They are of us, and as they move forward to organize and lobby, we must help them recognize the continuum of Polly Murray, Constance Baker Motley, Diane Nash, and you. Now in the public eye and on a political platform, Generation Zeal sees you. So I wrote this letter thinking of not just the students that I teach at Jackson State, where I teach them English, but I teach them that through social justice literature. I wrote it after what I saw when we saw so many communities in the United States and around the world kind of pour into the streets and lead marches in protest. And I remember thinking to myself when Jackson had theirs, that I have got to be there. I've got to be a presence. I was nervous about going, to be honest, because I hadn't set foot outside of the house during pandemic. But I said, I cannot teach about this and not participate in this. So I wanted to make sure that I showed up. But what really impressed me was that it was Generation Z who was leading this. It was young women, one in particular who was a recent high school graduate, and others that were college students. And I was so impressed by their leadership and how they were guiding the rest of us forward. And so this letter is for them. And so I did include all, various aspects of this community, from the Stoneman I think it's Silverman Bridges High School, what happened in Parkland, Florida, and the leaders that came out of that high school that became leaders, but also everyone from Anaya Eastman, that was a part of that, Naomi Wadler, that was a part of that, and also Naomi Osaka, who announced before the US Open that before I'm an athlete, I'm a Black woman. And she made this statement while wearing a mask with the names of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd and Trayvon Martin, really to show the world that she knew was watching her, that she cared about the things that were going on around her. So that's who I wrote this letter for.
And the richness of this letter, and that it adds to the book, shows our recognition of the fact that there is a bridge and we have to join hands over it. Our beautiful girls who are expressing themselves for who they are, we may not know, we may not understand, but they are talented. They are our kids, so we know they're smart. And we know that they're trying to work through who they are, what their life is to be, and we have to be there with them. And I was so struck at how little I knew about so many things, but it also set me on a trail of knowing that I'm a part of the legacy organization, and I extend my hand to those who are in the generation X, Y, G, and D, and to the 10th power. And I think that their expression of their lives and their loves and how they want to be valued and taken care of is something we have to truly understand and respect. And your letter did that for us. And I thank you so much for that. And Arlette, thank you for introducing me to Shauna Smith.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We need to unmute Jennifer. We can't hear you, Jennifer.
We thank you so much, everyone. We have a couple more letter writers, and then we're going to, you're going to be able to have a Q&A with Dr. Peggy Brooks-Bertram. Katiana Weems, is she here? She's one of our letter writers, young letter writers, filmmaker from Baltimore, Maryland. She teaches editing and visual storytelling at Baltimore School for the Arts. She's an award-winning director, cinematographer, and editor. And her work has been screened internationally and featured in New York Times. Is she with us? I hope she is.
Hi, Tatiana.
Hi, how are you?
Okay.
Hi. Well,
okay, take it away.
Of course, I'm just going to go ahead with my letter. It's very, very brief. I just wanted to, in my letter, really take a look at a lot of the things that a lot of people my age were really sort of struggling with, especially this election season. Vice President Harris, these times are strange, harrowing even. As a young Black queer female, the weight of it all seems to trap me. Like in those dreams where you try and run, but you barely move forwards, like you're running through quicksand, and whatever it is that's chasing you inevitably catches up and you wake up, or I guess perhaps fall asleep. These times are disheartening, but you bring with you the potential promise of something better. I know many people my age, especially those existing within minority groups, are going out to polling booths begrudgingly, offering support as a way out of the current situation, but not necessarily because they want to. And personally, I don't know how I feel. I know that I wish I could go back to worrying about things like the housing market and not if I'll lose one of my trans friends or family members, or if one of my brothers will lose their lives to police violence. And I know that I believe in you, and that I am proud of everything that you've done thus far. You have our support behind you, but please vote for us as we vote for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time from your directing to come on today.
And Katiana.
She is a Washington, D.C. native who splits her time between Western Sweden and Washington, D.C. Dr. Bertram?
Yes. Oh, this is for, oh my goodness.
So Adriana Smith is,
And,
Adriana George, I'm sorry.
And let me tell you about Adriana George. Where is she? There she is. Oh my goodness. I met her online. She's an expatriate from the United States to Stockholm, Sweden. And I met this beautiful woman in some other work that I had done earlier when I was trying to put together another book of letters. And then I stayed in touch and I watched the work she did. And she heads up like the Black Democratic Caucus out of Stockholm, Sweden. And so our Black women are really, they are doing it anywhere they put down roots, any country, they start doing great things. And Adrienne was out there for Sister Kamala. And so Adrienne, I'm so glad to see you. Please say a few words.
Thank you, Double Doctor, my Shiro, someone that I admire and look up to, someone, as you mentioned, that I first met when you were doing this incredible project for then, who was going to be our first lady, Michelle Obama. So gosh, that's been a while ago. You look more beautiful today than you did then, I have to say. And it's true, we all know that's true. I want to read, just to clarify what Peggy said, because I am active with Democrats Abroad Black Caucus, but I'm not running the Black Caucus. It's another fabulous sister named Angela Fobbs, originally from Ohio, who lives in Germany. But what Peggy has seen is me amplify all of her work that she's doing. And that's one of the things that I do. I try to amplify all the wonderful things that we are doing in Europe, our Black women in Europe, what they're doing. I feel like that's my calling. So I use my platform to amplify, and that's doing that work brought me to Peggy. And she gave me the opportunity to put a few words together about Kamala. And this is what I wrote. It was late in the evening when the Swedish news broadcast announced that Joe Biden selected Senator Kamala Harris to be his running mate in the upcoming presidential elections. I woke up the next morning and asked my Swede if I had been dreaming. He confirmed it did indeed happen, and I broke into a happy dance. My HU, Howard University Bison alum and sister in the Divine Nine, was making history by becoming the first Black Indian woman vice presidential candidate on a major political party ticket. Well, I had already been working on Get Out the Vote efforts with Democrats Abroad, Global Black Caucus. This announcement gave me new impetus to reach as many overseas Americans as possible. Our votes matter. Our votes can be the margin of victory in key states. Members of the Divine Nine around the world are excited. I've talked to some of them. They all want to see Senator Harris take her rightful place. Black women vote, and let's make sure we do this in this historic election. When you called out Howard University and the Divine Nine in your acceptance speech, my heart burst with pride. Go Kamala, go Bison, HU, you know. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, Adrienne. Oh my goodness, this is fantastic. And I see another person who come on, who is Terry Wisdom from Harlem, New York.
Harlem.
Take it away, Jennifer.
You know what? I see so many of the writers here. You know, I'm so sorry. The weather must be working on my Zoom connection also. So it's been going in and out. So I want to apologize. The next person we have is Arcana. Is Arcana on? Was she able to get on? I know she had said she wanted to. She is from Nepal, a little village from where I think Kamala Harris' mother is from. And I know she emailed us and said she wanted to get on.
So let's give her some time. They're like a whole day away.
Yes, indeed. We'll give her some time, but we'll go on. You know what? If she comes on, we'll go back. We'll go back. Right now, we want questions. We're going to start the Q&A. Anyone that has any questions for Dr. Peggy Brooks-Bertram, please add your questions to the chat and we will make sure she can hear the questions and take it away right now. They're waiting. They say, please post your questions in the chat. You know what? I think I'm gonna get everyone started.
I got a question. One is, how can we get a copy of the book?
All right. I think they're gonna put in the chat. We have 2 local, if you're in Buffalo, we have 2 local bookstores, Talking Leaves. And Miss Sharon Holly, you wanna give information about your bookstore? You had to unmute.
We need,
Yes, we are
she's unmuted.
Zawadi Books. We're located 1382 Jefferson Avenue in Buffalo, New York. The phone number 716-903-6740, and we'll be happy to get a book to you. Thank you.
Excellent. And also, they just put links in the chat. Then there's also Indiana University Press has a link that they're going to share too. So the books can be purchased tonight a lot of different places, okay? And excellent, because I know some ladies already have their book. I'm jealous because I keep waiting for my book. I don't know what's going on with the mail. Sharon, I'm gonna have to walk down the street and get a book, okay? You're not that far from me.
I don't have one either.
I want to ask, is there any other questions? Please put them in chat.
People are wondering if there's an ebook and if the book is also in hard copy. And we know that there's ebooks and you can get them through the library, but will the book be produced in a hard copy version as well?
Yes. Is there anyone from the publisher on here? Yes. Stephen. Mr. Williams. You had to unmute. Okay. I'm gonna let the publisher answer that question. Okay, Mr. Williams.
Well, thank you very much. Wonderful event. It was really moving. I was talking to Gary on our own chat line while everything was going on. I got to say, it's been a real honor to work on this book. Unfortunately, the book is paperback only. It's not going to be available in hard copy, but the ebook is available. I would encourage everyone to buy from their local bookstore, because we love local bookstores much more than we like even doing sales from our own website. But if you're not in Buffalo, I posted the link to our website in the chat. So if you want to buy a copy and you're not in Buffalo, come to us. Don't go to Amazon. You know, it's on Amazon. We do business with them, but obviously they are the great evil. We don't support Amazon. If you use the code VEEP at checkout, you'll get 30% discount. But do go to your local bookseller first, because we love them more than we love ourselves. But the book will be available in ebook, but it's paperback only. Unfortunately, there is not a hard copy edition at this point. So
we didn't have enough of time. We had to hurry up and get this book done.
Exactly. You know, this book didn't become a reality for us until the middle of November. And it usually takes us about 18 months to 2 years to turn a book from a manuscript into a real physical book. So the fact that we've done it in 2.5 months is really a testament to how wonderful the book is, and how much we're willing to back Sister Double Doc, as I'm now told her I'm going to call her forever now. I'm not going to call her Peggy. She is now forever Sister Double Doc, if she will allow me to call her that. But yes, we support this book. You know, we love it. It's been an honor working with everyone. Jennifer, Peggy, Joy. You know, if I'm not saying thank you to the right people, I should be, and I apologize. But it's been a real privilege and honor. So, you know, if anyone has any questions, please, you know, feel free to reach out to us. at Indiana University Press, we would be delighted to answer any questions you have. But yes, thank you, Julia, and Julia, I should not forget Julia, the wonderful publicist, for posting that link there, and use the code VEEP. So that's VEEP for a 30% discount at checkout. But don't buy from us, buy from the wonderful local booksellers in Buffalo. If you're there, they can get you a signed copy of the book from Peggy. And we want that more than we want the sales ourselves. So I'll shut up now because I'm ready.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for supporting local entrepreneurs. We really love it. And Miss Janice LaVon has been holding up the book like a beautiful banner, our own banner, white. Yes, thank you very much, Janice. Yours came early, so that's excellent. Oh, Janice has hers too. Oh, Arlette, Dr. Miller Smith has hers too. Oh gosh, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting. But thank you very much. Someone has a question about, are there plans to get the book in the hands of our beautiful and very talented and smart Vice President Kamala Harris? You have to unmute. I think that, let me see if I host. Okay.
So I'm unmuted, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So what I know is that there are a host of people who are working in parallel lines, I guess, to get the book to Kamala Harris. And we know that our local congressman's office is working to do that. We know that Stephen has contacts, right, Stephen, who are working to do that. So we got the train tracks ready. The train is on the track. We just need to put some coal in the engine. Is that a good way of saying it? But what we want to be able to do, of course, and would have been nice to be able to do tonight, is to have been able to have them call in and say, we got the book and we thank you for this. That did not happen, but the train tracks are laid and, we're getting ready to head into the station. And so our goal is for that to happen. Because what I thought originally when we started, the idea was that we could get this book finished, I think, correct me, Jennifer, during the campaign, because we thought that if we could get her staff to just read a part of a letter every day throughout the campaign, she would really see that there were people out there, especially African-American women, Asian women, Latino women, they were out there pushing her to be successful, praying for her, wanting her to be successful, but we weren't able to do that. And I'm telling you, you might think that just because you have a book published and in hand, that somebody can go up and hand it to the vice president. It doesn't work like that. Nobody knows how it works, quite frankly.
No, but there's some make it happen people that are working on making it happen.
Yes, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. As soon as it does, we're going to have another celebration. Okay, but it's going to get in. They are working hard to make it happen, and it's many people. I saw our local congressman has his people working on it. The publishers. It's going to happen. Okay, it's going to happen. We're not going to give up. We are not going to give up until she sees this great book of letters that has great talent in it, great ideas and solutions, and raise concerns that I think our president and vice president should know about.
I would like to add that to Terry Wisdom, who has joined us, who was gracious enough to interview me a couple of times on the Harlem Network News. I mean, this is going full blast, making sure that people in Harlem have their newscasts coming straight out of where they live, and Terry is doing that. And Terry, I just want to answer your question that regarding, I think maybe getting the book, and we could follow up with that. But Terry is really doing a stunning job in Harlem. And to Kapaya Merrill, I'll find a way to sign your book as well. you know, as well as the other ones. In fact, the press has will give me a whole bunch of signature plates, which will be stuck in each of the books. And I will sign those in advance, especially for the Buffalo people who can go here to Sharon's bookstore and to the Talking Leaves. I will sign those and make sure they get in the books so that you will have my signature.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Am I missing anything?
You know, there's one more question as we hit into almost 8:30, and it's how can all these beautiful queens here stay connected?
Well,
all right.
Thank goodness for social media. It is imperative, let me tell you, it's imperative that we stay together. It's unheard of that a group of women who never saw one another, never knew one another, that they could come together across continents, across cities and states, countries and all, come together for one common goal, and that is to tell another one of us that we got our back. We have to stay together. And the reason, one of the other reasons we have to stay together is because just being in the vice president's office means a lot. But what means everything is putting structures in place to keep her there. That means doing the work of a person like Stacey Abrams everywhere in this United States, and everywhere that we have a chance, and that's everywhere, to vote, to express our will, to express our interest in what we solidly believe in, and letting people know that we won't be fooled for a moment about what is involved here. We will not be fooled for a moment into thinking that, oh, this is so nicey nice. No, 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 no. This is big stuff we've been involved in. We have put our souls on the line. We talked about the things that meant something to our mothers that they couldn't do. We talked about the things that made something to our grandmothers that they couldn't do. But we have this power in our hands. Black, white, Asian, Latino, everybody. And if we lose that opportunity, we will not get it again. This is the moment. This is the moment where we start talking to one another and meaning what we say and doing what we say we're going to do. And this has everything to do with the politics socially of all of us coming together and sharing a major responsibility for one another. And we keep together. Why? Because I got your numbers, honey. Jennifer is the person who can organize the organizing out of organizing. Jennifer we have the names and addresses, the phone numbers and everything, and you have mine. And I'm telling you that as we build this base, a database of people around the world, we got Adrian George and she's chomping at the bit in Sweden. And you can get online and see what she does. We got this network. We got stuff to use. We got Terry Wisdom putting her newspaper experience and her TV experience in hand, drawing together Harlem. She's reaching out to all of us. We got the Girl Scouts. We got young children. They're talking about the polar bears now, but they'll be talking about organizing like Stacey Abrams in about 10 years, if not less. And we got artists like Celeste Lawson and Vanetta Rhodes and Sharon, and all across the world, we have young people who are willing to stand together and to fight for what we believe in. And even though we may not know quite just yet, we are well on the road to being able to form a unified group of people who can come back, and we can write a book anytime we feel like it.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Bertram. There are some people, I want to encourage everyone to order a book from a local bookseller or the university press line, and they will mail the book to you. Dr. Bertram is going to sign, I don't think she's going to mail any books, but she's going to sign these signature cards and make sure they get to the booksellers. So her signature you can affix her signature in the book, okay?
And one final thing, Jennifer, one final thing I want to say.
That's okay.
What's so critical about this press is that if you want a press to support this kind of work, we have to support them.
That's true.
We have to support them. We need to buy their books, get them to give their discounts to us. Let's buy their books from them. And we don't have to go to the big giants. We can go to them. That's the way they survive. And that's the way we can survive. I'm telling you, when you go to Google and you put your name in, it comes up. When I put my name in, 5 to 6 pages of Google has nothing but Peggy Brooks-Bertram. It's unreal. And so we need to go to the press, buy the books, buy as many as we can, ask them for discounts if they can afford it. That's how we get the word out. I mean, this is just, I'm done. I mean, like,
any other questions before our host close it out for us? Gracious host.
Yes.
Any other questions, lady? If you think of something, especially our young future congressmen from California, congresswomen from California, if you guys here think of anything, please, you know what? Just put a direct message us on the Harris Letters Project page, and Dr. Bertram will answer you. Okay. And I would like to say hello, Vicki. Hello, ladies, Harris letter writers from Rochester, all over the United States and all over the world. You are precious, you are talented, and I've learned so much working on this project.
And Jennifer, one other thing. This is regarding Dr. Beverly Smith. When I got a call a few months ago, around about midnight,
yes,
from Janetta Cole,
oh,
I was stunned. She was responding to me having written all kinds of little notes and leaving, messages and whatever. For the great Janetta Cole from the National Association of Colored Women's Clubs to call me at about midnight, I was blown away. I was blown away. And then she followed up. The trail was a little rocky, but she followed up and she led me to you. And I'm absolutely thrilled. I mean, like I said, these legacy organizations, we need to make sure that we stay in touch with them.
That's the power of the female network.
Exactly.
And I just watched Miss Coles on television, on C-SPAN last night, talking about education. There is so much, and she knew the founder of the organization that she's chairing now. It's just amazing, the history and the network, the connection. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this evening. And I'm gonna throw it back over there to Miss Mary Jean Jakubowski.
Thank you,
director.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, and thank you so very much, Dr. Brooks-Bertram. Double doc is what we now know you as, and so that's just so exciting. This evening was absolutely inspirational, and I cannot thank you enough for reaching out to the Buffalo and Erie County Public Library, and we are so excited to be in support of your book and promote that everyone get a copy of this book. Go to Zawadi Books on Jefferson Avenue if you're here in Buffalo, or Talking Leaves on Elmwood. Talking Leaves is a local bookstore. They also have it online, but we absolutely adore our friend Sharon Holly. So Zawadi Books. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention again that the book will be available through the Buffalo and Erie County Public Library System. So please visit our website at www.buffalolib.org for additional information. Now, this program has been recorded, and we will be posting this to the library's Facebook page and to the Harris Letters Project Facebook page for later viewing. We expect to have it posted before noon tomorrow, and I know all of us are going to want to listen again continue to participate, to reach out to our double doc at the Harris Letters Project. And thank you again, all of you from around the world, for joining us this evening. And we wish all of you a wonderful, safe, and warm, and just enjoyable evening. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, ladies. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you from all over the country and all over the world.
Thank you.